The Internet, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the movie guys, their ongoing mission to explore strange new films, to seek out new jokes, sketches, and bits, to boldly go where no showcast has gone before.
Well, you know. Hey, it's a test show.
Test show number 2 is off and running.
At least you can see us while we make mistakes now. Fantastic.
That's why I only half wrote that bit.
Welcome to the Movie Guys. This is the Movie Showcast. I get used to saying that. The Movie Showcast.
Not a podcast.
Not
it's
a podcast.
Show.
Not a show.
Not a show.
Not a podcast.
It's
a showcast.
Thank you.
Paul Preston here with Karen Volpe, Lee Caius, and Adam Witt.
Hello.
And we're testing everything out, as you can tell. Still trying to figure out the software that does our audio cues. But we have visuals today. So if you're listening on iTunes, go ahead and check out themovieguys.net where you'll find a video of this show. And we'll be showing off our set.
All right, it's very pretty.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll also be putting some pictures up on the Movie Guys, the Movie Guys Facebook page, facebook.com/the Movie Guys, and maybe on Twitter at the Movie Guys. We'll stick up some photos of our set because it's kind of cool. We've got movie posters behind each one of us. In the wide shot we have for the show right now, you get it. You can't see every. You still can't. That's how expansive a set it is.
So big
it's a
that you
wide
can't see
shot.
it all.
You still can't see everything.
Yeah.
It's like The Price is Right. You have no idea. It just keeps going on and on.
Well, we actually
Sets-
do have that little Plinko
Plinko's
right over here.
Oh,
Just saying. Right behind me
Yeah.
is Plinko.
How do they do the Bill Maher show in the same place where they do Prices Right?
Yeah.
It looks so much smaller when they do the Bill Maher show.
They have it curtained off.
The Price is Right's pretty small.
Yeah, but it
that's
looks
the
big.
joke.
Yeah, I
it's,
know.
yeah,
That's exactly it.
it's Bob's basement, but it looks massive.
Now, in the middle here, we're going to have a Movie Guys logo eventually.
Yes.
Which is exciting.
And we did you say that we're where we're actually at, the name of the location?
Yes, it's decided. Last week on the air, we kicked around the idea of what the name of our studio is going to be, and it is officially Admiral's Club.
Admiral.
The Admiral's Club Studio. Because we are, yes, in a flyover zone. So you occasionally hear that. Although a little while ago we heard a helicopter.
Yeah, and that was a whole different thing. That was like some sort of ghetto action.
That requires a whole different name for the lounge.
Yeah, I don't think that had anything to do with the fact that we're near the Burbank Airport. That was just, there's crime somewhere.
That had to do with the fact that we're near North Hollywood.
Exactly. Yeah. You can tell they were going that direction.
The sound of police helicopters and sirens means you're North Hollywood adjacent.
Yeah.
Vice Squad Lounge.
The Vice Lounge.
Or just the slammer. What is that little the cell? Yeah.
Cell Block.
Yeah.
Cell Block Studios.
Yes, that would be if we're one block west of here.
Yeah.
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 Gosh.
You go out our back door and there's North Hollywood and
The
there's...
slums of Burbank.
You're going to alienate all of the people in North Hollywood that listen to us.
Okay.
We're big in North Hollywood. Huge in North Hollywood.
So there's lots
Is this
of...
show being simulcast
I
in
was
Spanish?
thinking the same thing in my head. I was thinking it, and I went, "No, don't say it because
Let
that
Lee
could
say
be,
that.
That could be racist. So don't say that."
Lee'll say it.
Have you been to North Hollywood? Come on.
He's like the Mikey from Life cereal of our show.
Don't say it. Lee'll say
Lee'll
it.
say anything.
Say it.
He'll say the thing
I
you're
wrote
all
a couple
thinking.
jokes for the Star Trek earlier that he gets to say, so he's stuck with.
Well,
He'll say 'em.
He'll say them.
Lee'll say him. He'll say anything.
He'll say, yeah.
But let's just get to the big movie. It's summertime, so there's like one huge movie every week, pretty much. I mean, you get some counter programming last week alongside Gatsby. I had Peoples, and occasionally there's going to be a small comedy or something going, or an indie going up against a big movie. But this weekend is all about Star Trek Into Darkness.
That Gatsby looks like a disaster, though, I got to say. I've not seen the movie.
I
Has
almost
anyone
went
seen
to
it?
see it. No. It looks amazing, actually.
It doesn't
That
to
whole
me.
thing's in 3D.
Unnecessarily.
Everything's in 3D.
Everything's in 3D. You just can't shoot everything in 3D.
No,
I did not dig on Iron Man 3 in 3D, though.
I
gotta
didn't
admit.
either.
Yeah, it didn't need
and
to
partially
be.
because we saw it at ArcLight, and I know you say that's bad choice every time.
It
They had
is
brand new glasses
bad
for us,
3D.
though.
Which were bad.
Were they?
Which had a
weren't
white
good.
line at the bottom of my vision, the whole screen,
Yep.
and all the edges of the image were
For
blurry.
anybody listening to this, do not go see a 3D movie with the shutter glasses, which is The Grove. Don't go there for 3D.
Basically, look for the Real D 3D glasses that look like the Blues Brothers Wayfarer glasses. The
Yeah,
Ray-Bans, right?
Because for some reason, yes.
Blues Brothers Wayfarer 3D.
This is the thing.
Yeah.
This is really old
I'm
technology.
seeing this in Blues Brothers
Easy for you
3D.
to say.
Wayfarer.
Wayfarer 3D. Boys of Summer 3D.
I'm just saying Wayfarer should get on this. But yeah, so wherever they have the Real D 3D, that's the place to go. Because I think you're going to see more of the image in your vision and less of the edge of the glasses, which are going to distort the image. And
Well, the
you're
one-
in for a
the
better
ones-
experience.
The ones at ArcLight and the Grove, who is that? Pacific that has the Pacific theaters.
Yeah.
It's they have those. First of all, they're glasses you have to charge. What a scam that is!
Well, these weren't, by the way. The ones they had that we saw with Iron Man didn't have the charging
Oh.
things, right?
Personally, like at your seat, you have to plug them in or something?
No, but Adam's talking about there's a power source to them.
Yeah,
somehow.
they're like
no,
they're
you're
like
right,
big
you're
and heavy, and they are sunglasses. They darken the image so much. It's horrible.
Well, what was funny about the ArcLight is that as soon as because I've gone to 3D before, I don't mean to brag, but I've
Well,
seen 3D movies.
But you're a man of
He's
leisure.
got a job. He doesn't live in North Hollywood. He's
Yeah.
been to 3D before.
Tell us about your adventures out there in the world. Like,
Well, what
Yes,
I
tell us.
like to do when I get my 3D glasses is I like to inspect them to make sure that they are of my
Always.
standard and quality,
Always.
right?
Standard.
I have
always
no
is standard.
problem
Always make sure
believing that.
there's no smudgies or scratches
Yes.
or goo
Technical
or whatever.
term.
Yes.
Swidgies.
And so as soon as he hands me the glasses, I immediately go to inspect, and he stops me. He's like, "They're brand new, never been used." Like he took
I
personal
heard-
offense.
I heard him say
Did
that.
you say that? He's
Yeah.
like, never been used. Like, back off, man.
And then you're like,
we waited till the big summer movie,
yeah.
and I don't need you to condescend to my glasses.
Well,
Man.
the one 3D glasses experience that I really recommend against is the one where they keep them all in that big tub of blue liquid, and they just take like a barber comb. They just take them out of the big.
Oh, that's like
does
the same
it
stuff.
say Barbasol on
yeah,
the
exactly.
side?
Just this big glass tub of floating glasses, and they just drip them off, and there you go.
Not for nothing, but a lot of those big glass cases, they keep those barber combs in. It says barbicide.
Yeah, it's a side.
No.
It's a type
which
of side.
seems like, a
I thought it
way
was
to kill
Barbasol.
yourself if you're a hair cutter.
glass side, glass aside.
Just gonna drink
Yeah,
that
just
one night.
throw the combs
Screw
out,
this.
down the blue shit, and you're dead.
Always wanted to drink.
Commit barbicide.
Haven't you always wanted to drink the blue juice?
No, what is wrong with you?
Well, as a boy, my dad used to take me to the barber shop, and I would see the barbicide, and it looked like Kool-Aid.
Wow.
It reminds me of the time my mom bought a plant, and she brought it into the house, and the first thing she said to my sister and I was, "Do not bite this plant." let me tell you the urge I had to fight every day after that in my life.
Don't press the red button.
I think
I
your
had-
mom has a great point.
I
Don't
had
bite the plant.
Never thought about biting a plant up until that moment.
Did you
and
wanna
then
bite it
all I
after that?
wanted to do was bite that plant.
Was it aloe? Is that why?
No, she said it was some sort of snake plant that would make your tongue swell up.
A snake plant.
Yeah, it's like a tongue plant or snake plant.
Maybe she wanted you to bite it and get
tongue
sick.
plant.
And
Tongue
Those are
plant.
two different things.
Whatever you
All
do,
right.
don't bite the tongue plant.
When I was a kid, apparently they had. I tried to eat a turtle, like a live turtle.
And I'm getting shit for a plant?
I'm just saying.
Did you come up with that all by yourself?
This is stuff I was told. I don't remember it for a
Did
second.
your dad walk in and say, "Don't eat the turtle"?
I don't know what it was.
Oh, you're gonna love this, okay? Because I don't know. This reminds me of aquariums. His sister once watched those little guys that live in the shell.
Oh, hermit
crabs. Okay, get this. So Paul had these little hermit crabs. One was named Hungar or
Thundar and Zagnut.
Oh,
okay.
nice.
Isn't that
Perfect
nice?
names.
So we were working
You're
somewhere.
welcome, America.
And we were working somewhere, and his sister was taking care of them. And Paul's like, "How are my little pets doing, or whatever?" And she said, "Well, one of them was dirty, so I cleaned it." And she just
Pull the
dragged him.
bastards out of their shell.
Oh my God.
She's like, "Oh, what is that stuff in there? Gunk or whatever."
So she thought
Unpleasant.
the little guy.
Well, she thought the animal was just the shell.
I thought she thought there was gunk in the
she
shell or something. I don't know if she
she
knew they
cleaned
were an
it.
animal. To be honest with you.
She thought they were inside the shell, like a fish goes into like the little
Yeah.
castle. You know, I got him out of his little castle so I could clean the bowl.
And he walked around, he dried up, and he flipped over or whatever, and he was done. They need moisture like turtles.
Yeah.
No, that's.
Anyway, he was minding his own business. She dragged him out of his home and killed him.
Now, our
he
slug.
was really not just minding his own business.
He was.
Really a vicious slaughter. Now that you bring it up.
Are snails just slugs that have found a home?
I always thought
I don't
they
mean
were
to
the
bring
same
this up on
thing.
the movie, guys.
No, this is very relevant.
This is the
There's a
Showcast.
snail movie coming up this summer
is a
called
show.
Turbo, voiced by Ryan Reynolds. Go.
Turbo.
Continue your snail story.
Turbo?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's
Oh
true.
my God.
I'll tie everything into a movie just so we can talk about it.
Oh Lord. Again.
I've always thought that, Adam. I always thought slugs were just snails without shells.
Some have found a place to go and some haven't.
Wait
that
a
can't be
minute.
it,
Is that
right?
Do you think that's why they call people that don't have a home and don't have a job a slug? Because they don't have a little shell.
Because they're fat and shapeless and
And
kind of
have
just a
little-
mass that just sort of sits there. I think
Just
that's why
ooze
they're
around
called
your
slugs.
sofa.
So the slug that found the shell is a snail. But what if the slug finds like something else to like? I live in a sock. Now what area?
He's
are
a
you?
slock.
They got to come up with a slock. Or
All
a
right,
snock.
did we mention again? This is a test show. Really, what we're trying to accomplish isn't so much the comedy as it is to see how
Have you
the
seen the
set
set?
looks.
Oh, man, the
and
set.
how we look on camera, and if we need to change anything.
Yeah.
But we will talk to you about slugs living in
Spoiler
socks.
alert! Spoiler alert! We will be getting to a point.
Yeah, because a lot of I'm
Oh,
not,
no, we won't.
Not throwing podcasts under the bus, but a lot of podcasts do this. This is their show. This is not
And
our
I see
show.
why it comes naturally. It comes
It-
easily.
Yeah.
And,
But
it
even
can be
we do
charming,
this better,
I think.
Karen.
I think this is
Thank
pretty
you.
Right.
charming.
Yeah, certainly.
We do even this better than
We do this better.
But you are not guaranteeing your audience quality times if you're just yabbering on.
No,
No.
no, and usually they eventually do just all double entendre.
We don't do a 425 show.
No,
is what I'm
I
saying.
don't know what that means.
I don't
You
either.
pay $0 for our show. We don't stop at zero.
Yeah.
No,
No.
we keep going. We give you a $5
Give
show.
you a $5 show if you like it or
You're
not.
not a Steve Martin fan?
You know that one from Steve
I'm
Martin.
not a Steve Martin fan.
What? That's insult.
How much did you pay
Oh,
to get in here?
oh, right,
How much
yeah,
did you pay
the
to get in here?
425.
450?
Yeah.
Right, right.
I don't do a
That's a
425.
large
wanted to-
leap to say you're not a
I just
fan,
wanted to
I'd
know what
say.
it was from. Yeah. I was like,
Screw
You've
you.
got any
Get
friends-
out.
What li-
have you heard of Abraham Lincoln? You've heard of Abraham Lincoln. You a big fan of Abraham? Well, you like black people?
Pool or pond? What, you don't like Caddyshack?
Absolutely. If you
Cool.
don't know that quote, then you don't know.
The
Then
pond-
you don't like
pond
it.
I'm
be
not,
good
then
for
I
you.
don't like Steve Martin.
Pond be good for you.
All right,
All
well,
right.
let's get to
We
the point.
actually put
because
something
you
on
said there
paper,
was-
yeah.
King Tut, you know.
You know.
That guy.
That guy.
All right, so as I mentioned, our big release this week is Star Trek Into Darkness, a movie I haven't seen yet. I have to admit, I've been out of town. But it is a movie I want to see again already.
Yeah, exactly.
There is no colon in the title, mind you. It is literally a cosmic journey into where there is no light. So it'll be fun to watch the crew of the Enterprise navigate their way through Kristen Stewart's head. Boom! Here we go with your preview of Star Trek Into Darkness.
All right. Wow.
I was like, where's this going?
You know, that made me go, gee, Paul must have made a mistake
Yeah,
on the sound
Paul, you-
cue.
you hit the wrong
He
cue.
can't possibly be playing this music.
Spoiler alert, Chewbacca dies at the end.
Star Trek Into Darkness is the second big screen adventure of the Starship Enterprise, unless you count the other 11. But of course, it's the second since the series was given the boot by professional series with star in the title rebooter J.J. Abrams.
Yes, with Jimmy J.J. Abrams at the helm, this movie promises to be dynamite.
That's a stupid joke.
Right? Come on. That's awesome.
Star Trek Deep Generation Space Voyager 9 is the 12th Star Trek movie and seeks to resolve all the burning questions left unanswered in the Star Trek movie Nemesis. That question, of course, being Nemesis was a Star Trek movie?
As with most potential franchises, the first movie sets the table in the form of a movie full of the creator saying, excuse me, pardon me, do you mind if I, da-da-da. And now having set the table, he can have fun without having to introduce James Kirk to the one guy in Oklahoma who didn't know who Spock was.
And returning are Kirk, Spock, Bones, Uhura, Sulu, Scotty, Chekhov, and even the actors that play them.
The trailer shows Kirk's defining characteristic, restlessness, and how it spells doom for the crew of the Enterprise
so bored.
as he pursues a villain that could spell doom for the crew of the Enterprise.
The new villain, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, who's been awarded the title of most British-sounding name by Hello, Governor magazine, looks like he's going to bring hell to the Starship's crew and, because it happens every third movie, destroy the Enterprise.
With Chris Pine's wonderfully blue eyes, this movie should be called Star Trek Into Heaven.
But in the old Star Trek tradition, only the even-numbered ones were good. So will this one buck the tradition? All I know is when the credits of this movie roll, we'll have seen a Star Trek movie. Kirk will be brash, Bones will be sassy, Uhura will be hot, and Spock will give someone a neck pinch. And isn't that what this is all about?
And as Paul said earlier, we will probably see this movie. Probably see it twice.
Yeah.
Yay.
Recklessness.
And I was just going to say recklessness. Because, you know,
We did rehearse that.
Not only is this a test show for lights and looking at the studio, we were handed this when we sat down.
Karen, I like to think
I can't read.
every moment as a test show for life.
One could argue that Kirk has restlessness.
He is
It just
restless.
doesn't work in the context of that joke.
No, it doesn't. Now,
I don't get this joke.
The trailer does show. I know it's
Recklessness
It's because it was stupid, and I was supposed to be working today at work. Instead, I wrote jokes.
It was supposed to be breathlessness. He's breathless.
It was splitting
long-
focus between making a living and making jokes.
I know.
Breathlessly
Well, as long as it
handsome.
doesn't say pantslessness, that's okay.
Chestless.
Could you
Sticking
imagine
around
if
to
he
that.
just ran around with his shirt off? That'd be okay.
Well, that is
Sure,
a
it
Kirk
will happen.
tradition.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
That's funny. What Kirk tropes did he not pick up in the first movie that we now get to see? Shirtlessness. He
I
wasn't
would love
shirtless
that.
in the first
I
one,
heard
was
he wears the girdle this time.
Does he?
You get to see that.
Shatner
Went off and he
tradition.
gained 20 pounds.
Yeah, you see the
You
girdle.
lied.
I always loved. I did. Okay, well,
Yeah.
the girdle line. You saw the girdle
Kirk would
line
have the
under
girdle
his
line.
under his red or what color did he
You
wear?
know what? These days he'd be wearing Spanx. I'm telling you, Captain Kirk would be in Spanx.
I
It's
found
true.
at a Blockbuster that was closing down. I found a Blu-ray for like $4 or whatever, in just the open disc bin of Star Trek, and I was like the original series, and I was like, oh, cool, this would be interesting because it's a really colorful show and everything like that. And the episode that there was like 3 episodes on it, but the first episode was one where Kirk is shirtless the whole time. The whole episode, he's
In
in like this arena
Blu-ray.
of death. It is so perfect that he's just shirtless the whole
Back when-
episode.
Back when sucking in your stomach made you fit.
Yeah,
Yeah. You
Yep.
look at- yeah.
And he was
Point out
girdled
a
up.
guy in an arena of death who's fully clothed. Gladiators, John Carter, whatever, Anakin. They have
Who's
all
wearing
got
the
something going
snuggie
on.
in the heat of battle? Nobody.
Nobody.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Now, by the way, anybody who doesn't want to be spoiled on this, do not go to Wikipedia. I was looking up the plot, and usually Wikipedia has no information on movies. It just says, he says exactly
is that
what
right?
the advertising
Yeah, I
line
don't
is.
go there
Well,
much
I
for
usually-
movie. In fact, IMDb mostly.
Well, but that gives you a real broad one. That gives you like the advertising description, the summary, the 2-sentence summary.
Well, you got to click to get to the further plot, which is so then you can get all the other info without accidentally seeing massive plot points there in front of you, like Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Which, if you're scrolling through that page, suddenly, boom, there's everything you didn't want to know.
Boom.
Boom.
Sometimes you get that from Wikipedia, sometimes you don't. So I go to look up a little more information because this thing's going to be really hush-hush. I mean, it's a J.J. Abrams movie. There's a secretiveness about the plots of these things. And so, of course, I see the generic one on IMDb. Oh, something crazy happens in the Star Trek, something happens. I mean, it's just really like generic, like in the crew must crew. So
They row?
Star. Trek.
Enterprise breaks down, they row to safety.
And so I go to Wikipedia.
It's an allegory for slavery, Paul.
Wikipedia has a beat-for-beat plot description of Star Trek Into Darkness. So I go through the first paragraph, which is generic kind of stuff from the trailer that turns out is just the first 10 minutes of the movie. Everything we've seen, I think, is the first 10 minutes of the movie from what I can tell from Wikipedia. But then I realize this is awfully detailed. And I go into the next beat, and I'm like, and something major is on Wikipedia. And I haven't even gotten to the last 3 paragraphs of complete beat-for-beat plot. Anyway, so I backed out and wrote those lame jokes.
This is how
Karen.
uninterested
Thank
I
you.
am in Star Trek in general, which I'm
Wait.
trying to generate.
Wait a second. Hang on.
No, I want to talk about Wikipedia.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Oh.
And
And then we'll get
We're
into
ready
that.
for it.
No. I actually went to that same Wikipedia thing,
Yeah.
read the whole thing, didn't get anything out of it.
That's funny.
I had no idea.
Oh
I'm
my God.
still not sure what the
You
movie's
really
about.
aren't a Star Trek fan if you got nothing out of that description.
Well, it didn't strike me as a big spoiler issue. I was like, oh, there's some stuff here. I was looking for stuff to write jokes about.
I'm so glad you didn't read further and write some totally spoiler jokes, not realizing what you were doing.
When did Star Trek the motion picture come out? Like 77, 78,
79.
79?
Post Star
All right, so
Wars.
And that's going to get
so
into...
sci-fi.
That's 30 years till the 2009 reboot, right?
Yeah.
So that's 30 years of Star Trek universe that you, Lee, don't have to be interested in.
Yeah.
And then it's all brand new. So
Well,
you didn't get
I-
excited with it's a nerdgasm.
I
J.J.
didn't
Abrams,
realize-
Simon Pegg, and
I did not realize that J.J. Abrams was resetting the table. I am going to go back and start with his first, right? which was the last one.
Yeah, I have it. You should
Yeah,
go
so
watch
I'll
it.
start there. It's not that I have anything against Star Trek. It's just that,
Well,
This is moving away from Wikipedia, by the way.
if
you
wanna
made a
get-
good point.
You might want to hit the.
But
No,
Mark-
he's going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it.
Okay, but Lee made a good point last week that because they're always rebooting the show, there have been 5 shows
Yeah.
that you rightfully thought like, oh, this is just another brand new Star Trek thing or whatever. But that what was so special about it was finally for the first time. I mean, all the movies that were made with the people from the TV show, and then all these separate TV shows. But finally, they made one that was a remake of the original TV shows with new people, which was radical and new and interesting.
And I missed
different.
that. I didn't realize that was happening. I would have.
Which is why you'd like it, I think.
Yes, and I would like to get on board, and I'd like to catch up with everybody. But it's not my fault. I blame other forces at work there.
And it's not your thing, which is why we have this.
Lee explains himself. Lee explains himself. Lee explains himself.
We have our first theme cue of the new Showcast.
And
it went
I
off great.
appreciate that on 2 levels. One, everybody loves a song about themselves. And 2,
And there was harmony.
It is truly an explanation, not a defense.
Oh, all right.
So after last week's show, I sat down with myself and did some thinking.
Okay, now
Well,
this
let's
is.
play a clip of what you said on last week's
Okay,
show when we
yes.
were talking about all the summer movies in general, and we
Yeah.
mentioned Star Trek Into Darkness. Stick with us. We'll keep coming back and previewing
We're going to preview.
previewing
If you like it or not.
more movies as they come out all summer, including Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, yes.
Okay, the fart
right.
sound, that was you, Lee.
Now, I want to also say that last week we didn't have a
Simple.
visual, so
Simple.
if people were listening,
Inelegant.
we weren't sure who farted, but it was Lee who farted.
That was not a fart, yes.
He made the fart
That's
sound.
the funniest clip. So last week you were heard to say.
Stick with us. We'll keep coming back and previewing
We're going to preview.
previewing
If you like it or not.
more movies as they come out all summer, including Star Trek Into Darkness.
Oh, yes.
There's 2 completely different opinions. Oh, yes.
That is 2 different opinions. Definitely. I think we've run the gamut of thought on Star Trek.
Lee is not excited about Star Trek Into Darkness, so Lee,
Explain yourself.
please.
Okay, this will take a moment, and like I said, I stepped away from last week's show, and I said, "Why is this? How did this happen?" And what I realized was my introduction to anything science fiction movies was Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That came out in what 76,
7.
77. I was 6 years old. So my consciousness before that was limited. So my introduction to that whole world was Star Wars. Talk about setting the bar so amazingly high for both production and story and all of that. That was it for me. I was like, oh, well, this is what it should look like. And then shortly thereafter, somebody came along and said, hey, here's this really cheesy 1960s show, similar genre. Don't you think it's good? I'm like, no, that sucks. The set's cardboard. The acting is horrible. The writing is stupid. There's this movie called Star Wars you guys should check out because that really is how this is done. And so from that point forward, I just thought Star Trek was this knockoff. I know chronologically it wasn't, but at 7, I don't know this. I wasn't introduced to Star Trek until after Star Wars, so I always thought Star Trek was this knockoff of Star Wars, and it was a horrible attempt at being what Star Wars was.
I always thought you had to pick one or the other. I'm a Star Wars person too. It's just like Elvis or the Beatles, one or the other. Not many people like both. That's how I used to feel about
That
it.
makes sense, right? I mean,
And it used to be that way. I don't think, not anymore now that J.J. Abrams has made J.J. Abrams took
agree
Star
with that.
Trek and made it more Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, that's why it's cooler.
Yeah.
I'm with him. I am not into any of that Star Trek
And I
stuff
thought to
before this
myself,
last movie.
Like I said, I really thought that Star Trek was ripping off Star Wars, and I even said to my 7-year-old self, they're stealing half the name. They couldn't even come up with their own name. They're calling it Star Trek. No, it's Star Wars. We know what it's supposed to look like, and it's not that.
See, now look at Battlestar Galactica, the original. Now that was a ripoff of Star Wars. And
I don't like that either.
But even that was produced in the mid-'70s, which is, again, I'm just...
it looked a little better. yeah.
Exactly. All I'm saying is my 7-year-old brain was trying to process what was happening, and I'm like, oh, well,
I don't know about Paul, but after Star Wars, that became an easy mark for anything that took place in space. In fact, that's why Star Trek: The Motion Picture and Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan were awesome, because it was like, hey, more star shit.
That explains why you like pigs in space.
Pigs in Space was great, too.
Yeah.
But my friend Mark, Mark Tucci writes for themovieguys.net every once in a while, he said, Star Trek will always be better than Star Wars because Star Trek never fed its fans Jar Jar Binks.
Oh,
Yeah.
And that's
Whatever.
not, but that's
Jar
not
Jar
just saying
Binks
Jar
is
Jar specifically,
ridiculous.
but never anything like that. And you could argue when Scotty hits his head on the Enterprise and passes out and sets a whole negative plot into motion. in
You
Star
watch all
Trek
66 episodes of the original series, you can find plenty of fucking Jar Jar in that.
I was gonna say.
Hello.
5. Clint Howard.
Can you go to episodes without hearing someone say, "What mean love"?
Would mean
Oh,
I feel like I've heard that every Star Trek episode.
Are they cavemen? What is that?
What is love? No, it's always someone who like doesn't understand love and
Kirk's got to teach him.
yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
I'm
I'll
sure.
teach
And he
you.
takes his
What
shirt
is
off and he
love?
explains love.
Please, James Kirk.
But I am
funny.
going to seize this opportunity to reintroduce myself to the whole. But I'm going to start with the last one, JJ's first
yeah.
reboot.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Oh
right.
yeah, it's really good. I don't like any of those movies
That's all you
either,
need to
so
do.
you'll like it.
because I did look up on Wikipedia that there were 12 Star Trek movies, and I don't
Yep.
remember. I remember
I remember
Star
the
Trek,
whale one. People like the whale.
Rathacon, and then that was it.
Yeah.
That was all I know.
Well, that's the thing this has to live up to, right? Is it's the second, like Wrath of Khan, which is the most famous Star Trek movie, the best Star Trek movie. Summer of '82, Tron, Road Warrior.
Poltergeist, or was that 83?
No,
No, that was 82.
that was '82.
I think. Yeah.
There was
Anyway,
a Star Trek movie called No Country for
Crystal.
Star Trek or something.
Yeah, mhm.
No Country for
For
Star
old
Trek.
Star Trek.
The Undiscovered Country.
No, okay. You see how I can make that
Oh,
mistake.
see.
Yeah.
Now,
That's number 6. A good one.
another point.
Did you
when-
know that off the top of your
numbered.
head? Or did you have to look that
I
up?
know that.
See, I wouldn't know that. Who knows that?
I
I'm a
had
movie
no
guy.
idea there was an undiscovered country Star Trek movie.
I couldn't tell you there were about all the television shows, but I'm a movie guy. I can tell you about the movies.
The thing that's kind of cool about the first Star Trek movie, and this is not giving anything away, but there's an evil
Wait.
ship.
First JJ Star Trek?
Well,
or
to me, the first one because I only like that last one.
Okay.
Yeah,
So this is the second
first JJ
movie,
one.
but the 12th in the series. But
it'll hurt your head.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is the bad ship reminds me of one time I had this wart removed from my foot, and this is so
of course it does. Of
such
course,
a-
this is what it
Go
reminds me.
ahead.
So I had this wart on my foot and it stuck out. And so the doctor, it was kind of cool. He burned it off, but he showed. I was just a little kid, and he
Put
showed it.
things in our ears. Did it look like the
And
thing
it
in
changed languages. No,
Chekhov's ear?
it made a little happy face on it, and then he goes, "Okay, now look at the happy face." And I was like, "Yeah!" And then he burned it off, and he pulled the happy face out. And when he pulled it out, it had all these gnarly roots that went everywhere. That's what the spaceship looks like.
Oh, in the first Star Trek? That ship
Yeah.
is awesome.
It's
That's the
awesome.
one
In the
flown by the Hulk, Eric Bana.
Oh,
Yeah.
the Romulan ship.
Yeah, oh, it's
Yeah, yeah.
badass.
Is that who the
Yeah.
villains
It
are in
reminds me of
first
the
one? Romulans?
Space
Yeah, yeah.
Wart.
Space Wart.
Total
yeah.
Space Wart. Yeah.
It's really good.
He flies the Space Wart 1.
The Space Wart one.
Actually,
It was
yeah,
pretty cool.
I forgot about that badass opening of the
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Oh my gosh,
movie.
it's
Yeah.
great.
Oh
The
my
opening's
God. With
awesome.
Chris Hemsworth?
Leo liked that.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
Thor.
Okay, so-
Thor
Thor
is
is
he kicks ass. Yeah.
No, the whole opening sequence, you'd be bought and sold.
Yeah.
That's what you'd be
Badass.
sold.
They don't mess
I can't
around.
wait to
Bought
watch it
or
again. I'm
sold.
going to watch it tomorrow morning. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to watch Star Trek cartoons because it is Saturday morning.
Right.
And that's on Netflix Instant. Is the Star Trek cartoons, which were written by the writers for the 4th season, but it got canceled. They're the actual scripts voiced by the actual people. They're voiced by the real cast. They're written by the real writers, and it was the scripts for the 4th season of the TV show before it got canceled, and they just animated them. Anyway, gonna wake up, watch some of those. Gonna watch some.
Never
J.J.
knew that was a
Abrams.
thing.
Yeah, check it out on Netflix Instant. They're good. They're like real stories. They're like real Star Trek episodes.
Is this one in 3D?
Yes, it is.
I
Is
think
it? Yeah, I'm not
so.
gonna watch
It's
it.
a movie, isn't it?
I think I'm done with 3D. I think I'm done with it.
I
It
think I am
kind of
too.
bothers me.
I think it's kind of
'cause
lost its
Not exciting. I don't
thing
know.
for me.
That's so good.
But this one is co-written by Damon Lindelof, who wrote Lost.
Oh?
So, you know,
So at
will
any
it get
point,
weird? Or will it be
hopefully-
Prometheus? Or will it be
They'll beam up a polar bear.
Cowboys and Aliens?
Yeah.
Actually, there's no
all,
winning there.
all of a
is
sudden,
there?
the others will be mentioned.
What did you think?
What is he known for
Will it be
again?
Prometheus or Cowboys and Aliens? You don't
Ooh,
win. I
I
guess.
know.
He only
no
writes
win-win.
things people hate.
Yeah.
So they hire him again?
Now wait a second. Now this is going to get real confusing for me because the first Star Trek was written by Orsi
Orsi and Kurtzman, they're actually involved in this one too. So
and
it's like
Kurtzman, but I always got them confused with Lindelof and Cuse or Cruz.
Laurel and
Cuse,
Hardy.
Carlton Cuse.
Yeah.
Laurel and Hardy, you know, they all to me sounds like chocolates you get at Christmas time.
Ooh, the Orsies are the best.
The Lindelof sampler.
Lindelof sampler. That's what I'm saying.
The Lindelof is so fluffy, especially when you get it new. You're going to go
Milk
right to the factory
chocolate.
and get the Lindelof.
Get the Carlton
Look.
case
Yeah.
full
I
of
love it.
truffles.
Get the Lindelof for your
For your
mom.
mom.
Let your
Yeah,
mom have
the
the
Lindelof.
Lindelof. Save the Lindelof for your mom.
They have that cute little wrapper that's different colors. It's red and white.
Very festive.
That's right. And you got those at the golf club.
Yep. Yeah, of course.
What?
Or the golf, never mind. The clubhouse.
The
Clubhouse.
clubhouse. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're for
We should
Grandpa's
get
belonging,
some-
you had to eat there
We
once a
should
year.
get like a candy here for the Admirals Club.
I'll write that on the list of things
Yes.
we need.
Yeah.
All right, we need
What are we getting? A bowl of hard candy?
We need a bowl of candy.
All right, webcams and bowl of hard candy. Get those down.
Yes. I just realized now the camera's over here, but I'm kind of looking over here at you guys. That's not going to always be the case. We're bringing the cameras in. We're going to get close-ups like we used to have in our previous
And
5
then
months at the Toad Hop
We're going to
Network.
get
In-
3D, and so you can enjoy that at home.
Test show number 2, you get one angle.
Yeah. What do you want for nothing?
By test show number 84, we're going to have multiple cameras, and so yes,
We'll have jibs.
Jizz? What?
Jibs.
Oh,
Jibs.
it is Hollywood. So
Stop paying attention.
yeah, you never know what's going on in here.
I love that.
Our neighbors probably think we're filming a porn.
You know they do.
You know
Especially
it.
when I mentioned our next film,
I was
Jack
just-
Reacher,
I was just about to say, well, they saw 3 guys go into a garage with a girl.
and a camera.
The
Absolutely.
door's open. There's 3 lights here because the camera now. It really does look like a porn being shot. Like,
Yeah.
good night, Mrs. Johnson.
And all week I've been working on the studio, and I've been bringing in the red curtains and everything. Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's right about this point in the
Yes.
show. I would say to myself, "Did I hit record?"
Ah,
Is
And
the,
I'm not- yeah.
if you want to go check, I will take over.
is the lens off?
Because
Something interesting.
Is the lens off camera?
What I would like to say is that one thing that.
Oh, okay, good. Excellent. You
We
did
had
not
all-
miss any of that.
Thanks for filling in, Adam.
All right.
Appreciate that. Record has been pressed. Actually, it was pressed a half hour ago.
Oh, good. What are you writing?
A show
notes.
idea.
Okay.
Notes for future shows.
Don't look at that.
Well, let's talk about Jack Reacher
I
because
would love to talk about
Would this
Jack
be the
Reacher.
segment where we mention what we watched this week?
or
did
20
you
minutes
watch?
ago?
What'd you watch this week? Maybe we had a name for that segment, and I will unearth
Sure.
what it was.
what
let's-
we
let's-
watched this week.
What'd you see this
No,
week?
what's more
Yeah.
clever than that? Something like your eyes. Something for your eyes.
Let me say first of all, I did not.
Your eyes only.
I did
Yeah.
not see a movie because I was in Las Vegas, and
You were busy seeing a bunch of
Oops.
plays, though.
Gosh, is there a movie we could quote in reference to Vegas? Hold on. Hold on.
Paul, you should have just come back with a face
on.
tattoo. And like with a tooth missing.
Vegas Vacation, maybe? Everyone's quoting that. No, so I saw, well, here's what I saw that sort of ties into a movie. I saw Rock of Ages at the Venetian Hotel, the stage play, and I'd never seen it before. And it just shows you how horribly wrong that whole concept went from stage to screen.
Yeah, I really want to see it on stage because, boy, what was that movie?
Well, first of all, there's a narrator on stage, and the narrator being in the play means they have the opportunity and they take advantage of it a lot to be self-referential and to just be real loose and fun. They announce they're doing a show a number of times. They do the old bit where someone has a big emotional monologue and they give them an Oscar. You know, it's like they're
That's
goofing the whole
cool.
show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so then when you watch this movie and Julianne Hough is when you watch the film Rock of Ages and Julianne Hough is so earnest and they've cut out any sex she would have with anybody. It got so sanitized for a movie that was all about decadence, for a play that was all about decadence, and it still is and has fun with it. It's not like they're not shooting heroin or anything, but they had a lot of fun with like hair band 80s madness, and that's kind of lost in the film. Although I still say, tying back into Jack Reacher, Tom Cruise is fantastic in the movie Rock of Ages, which is otherwise a horrible movie.
Do you know who played the original?
He's in a different movie.
What's the lead in Rock of Ages?
Stacey Jacks.
Stacey
Oh,
Jacks.
Stacey Jacks, yeah.
I
character.
think I know who played the original Stacey Jacks in the original stage production.
Oh, yeah?
Anyone take a guess?
I don't know.
It was
You will probably, if I'm right about this, and I'm making most of
Matthew
it up.
McConaughey?
Well, I know when it got to Broadway, Constantine Maroulis was in it.
Before that,
Okay.
I thought I heard this on, our viewers will correct me when I'm wrong, on Leno or Conan. He was
we'll
on
correct
Conan.
you next
yeah,
week
Please do
when
Yeah.
that. Chris Hardwick.
From Nerdist?
Yeah.
Oh, I might have heard
That
that.
He was
that
the
could be.
original Stacey Jacks in the original off-Broadway production of.
Wow, never heard of such a thing.
I will look that up. Because I think that does sound familiar.
Yeah, he was on Conan talking about that, and I had the same reaction, which was,
Whoa.
"Wow, this guy's got
He did
range."
do it, or he
Cool.
was.
He was the original Stacey Jacks. I think he had something to do with that.
Yeah, he's a
original
lot
production.
less likable, but he gets his comeuppance. And
No, Chris Hardwick's fine.
No, the
Stacey
character.
Jacks, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, jeez.
But Tom Cruise is in a different movie than everybody else.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like that.
he's
that-
in a
he's in a
really
better
good
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
But that
he's
director also
sexy.
clearly couldn't direct like him to like merge with that, or I don't know. I think Cruise did his. I don't know. How's the character in the stage play? Is it the way that Cruise is playing it, or did Cruise just make up his own thing?
He kind of made up his own thing. He's a little. There's more ego to the stage guy. I mean, there's ego in the Stacey Jackson movie, but he's
Yeah.
kind of just more like in his haze. It seemed.
It's more like a Doors thing, I think, in the movie.
Yeah, in this one, he's kind of more of a jerk.
It's like in the movie, it's like he's channeling Nicolas Cage or something. He's getting weird. It's like a weird Tom Cruise. Like I'm gonna be weird for a whole movie. Just bear with me.
Yeah, Valkyrie tanked. I'm just gonna do whatever I want.
Yeah,
so Tropic
yeah.
Thunder and Rock of Ages, and fuck you.
No, I thought he was
Fuck you,
great in it
Tom
too, and his
Cruise.
singing was really good in it too.
Oh yeah, when he does "Wanted Dead or Alive" in the stage play too, that's a good moment. I mean, he really announces his presence when he just
That's cool. That's a
nails
great
that
song.
Now, and my big question is the most annoying thing is like all the songs in that movie I really love and it's great and I love the hairband thing and everything like that. But it's like it's the most I don't know what the
wet paper plate version of the songs.
Yes.
Like whenever
Here we
Catherine,
are rocking out. We're rocking and rocking and
Okay.
rolling.
whenever Catherine Zeta goes, "We're not gonna take it."
Oh, I
So
know.
annoying.
Oh my God, go away.
So
Her
annoying.
character isn't even in the stage play.
Oh,
It's a whole different
Well, that's
reason that
good.
the strip is under attack. The clubs and the strip are under attack from a
it's
developer.
that different.
And it's a developer and his son. And it's a whole big thing. Yeah, it's all different. But the live band on stage rescues everything that could lean a little too musical theatery. The live band on stage is so badass that all the songs sound great. They nailed high enough stuff like that where you really got
I
to.
can't believe how milquetoast they went with it in the movie.
Yeah.
Not so on stage. But anyway, Tom Cruise is in that, and he's also in Jack Reacher, which was in theaters in December, and I saw it, and Lee saw it. But you guys are just catching up, right?
Yeah, I've
So,
seen the
I
last half hour just recently.
I just saw it today, and boy, is that is everything you want in a movie. That is so badass.
We take back every Jack Reach Around joke we've ever made.
No, I did not mean any of those jokes.
That
No.
was Tom. It came out of a place of ignorance. I'm sorry.
And just when you couldn't enjoy the movie more and have more badass and more awesome Chris McQuarrie badass lines, I mean, that is chock full of that. Then here along comes Werner Herzog.
And
Yeah.
then,
Like I even forget that he's in it.
I was
He's
gonna
half the reason
say,
I
and then
see it.
comes
Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall.
Oh.
You're like, "Hello, Robert Duvall."
bonus feature, the movie.
And who wouldn't want Robert Duvall to be your buddy? I want to hang out with Robert Duvall. I want him to like go shopping with me and stuff.
Bobby D.
There was there was the thing I
What's
loved.
going on down there? We talk about
What I-
Tom
the
Cruise.
camera's on now.
He's got to move
What you doing
things
under the
around.
table?
What I discovered about Jack Reacher this
pants
15th time I watched it, because I now own the DVD, is I think I had mentioned before on the Movie Guys, one of the things I like about movies, or one of the movies that I like, is a movie where the hero just wins. Just constantly.
Well, then you're gonna like
He's
Taken
never-
and Taken too.
He's never in trouble. We never think he might get killed. We never think he might not succeed. That's Jack Reacher. He's just in charge every situation. He's never in doubt. There's never a question. He's going to come out on top. And it's 2 hours of that.
It's the same thing I love about Bourne. He's 2 steps ahead of whoever's after him, but you don't know that yet when he makes this cool move that pays out, a second later that they thought they were ahead of. He's always ahead of them. It's just fantastic. He's just like so good.
And there's a lot of, for me, there was a lot of Few Good Men in Jack Reacher, because Adam and I were watching it. And you can lay some of the dialogue
And Lee did.
from Few Good Men over the tone and attitude that Tom has in Jack Reacher, because it's the same delivery, the same cadence, just different words, and I really just enjoy that about his
He was
personality.
leaving for the rest of his
life,
life. Right?
and
That's
yet
the line.
he hadn't packed a thing. He hadn't called anybody. And there's lines in Jack Reacher where he's like delivering that same cadence, that same rhythm, and just different words.
So if you went out to see The Hobbit and helped that make $150, $200 million, and you missed Jack Reacher, now it's on
Yeah.
Blu-ray and DVD.
And it is so solid. I mean, that movie works its ass off to be really efficient and just entertain the hell out of you.
Great cars chase and great finale.
Oh my God, the whole opening 5 minutes is like completely silent and just like lays out this whole story. It's
very tense,
clearly
right?
Creepy.
masterstroke.
And really tense. The first 5 minutes, your heart's in your throat, and you're like, it's very tense. Yeah.
Right, it's the stuff of great directors too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest film of all time, so I will say it gets a little procedurally.
Sure.
If that's a word, it gets a little procedural.
It's got a
been
lot
while.
of pieces to put together.
Got a lot, yeah, and so they do a lot of figuring, and then when they're done figuring, they get onto some exciting stuff.
But
There's
they,
a big figuring scene.
but they figure with like really smart, snappy lines.
Oh, no doubt.
And like,
McQuarrie's
yeah.
all over that.
Yeah,
His thumbprints on that movie.
that's good stuff.
Yeah. And we also saw Karen while I
For
was
your
in
Yes,
eyes only.
So,
What'd you see?
Paul's out of town,
Karen's
so
Classics. It's time to take me to
They,
Karen's Classics corner.
well,
She talks
I have
about.
a reason why. Okay, for example, A Few Good Men. I have a list of movies that I was supposed to see. Like people keep
Movie
saying,
jail.
see these movies or you go to movie jail. One of them was for A Few Good Men. Well, Paul and I have given up cable, but we have all these subscriptions to Netflix and Hulu Plus and all this other great stuff. So I, wanting to not spend any money, decided to start looking up my list and watch some of these movies. So many movies are not free or not available. Like I wanted to watch Sunset Boulevard. I couldn't find that
Really?
anywhere. And if I wanted to watch it, I had to buy it for like $12 or something crazy.
Huh.
So the ones that I ended up watching were the free ones. I think I found it on like Movies to Go or some like cheap ass.
One of those
free.
Roku app channels. Yeah.
Okay.
You
So I
find some
watched
amazing stuff on those.
I watched Grapes of Wrath because that was free.
Hey, that's a movie jail movie. I'm
It
in movie
was-
jail for that one.
There's
It
something.
was good.
There was a scene in Grapes of Wrath that made me
Yes.
laugh.
Which one? That
Well,
made
this-
you laugh?
Only because
It's
it was.
Grapes of Wrath.
No,
What night did you ruin by watching that? Oh my God.
The Grapes of Laugh.
Well,
It's about the Great Depression,
let
just in
me
case you don't know.
explain.
Sounds depressing.
Yes.
There's a scene where they're in the camps at the end, right? They're in the
Yeah.
the home. No spoilers on Grapes of Wrath, right?
There's poor people in
There's
it.
poor
Dan.
people.
Everybody's poor in the United
We're
States.
not worried about giving away.
I haven't seen it, but spoil away,
Okay.
I suppose.
No
it's on
spoilers.
me.
There's a huge depression. Everybody's
Yeah.
depressed.
Everybody's depressed. Only rich people have money.
And they're migrating out west, right?
Yeah, looking for
And
opportunity.
they end up in these camps where a bunch of people who are doing the same thing and are on hard times end up in these camps.
It's
and they're
kind of like when you travel across country and you all stop at those little Yellowstone camps.
yeah. Just imagine
Sure,
1,500
KOA.
people doing
Yeah.
that.
It's like living at a KOA. Remember when you were a kid and you were at the KOA?
Big-
That's how they were living.
That's it. That's the same difference. Okay.
Well, this is now way too built up. But anyway, this is
That's what this show does.
the point of the story is that there's a real sign of the times moment here. So I'm watching this, and the little kids are running around the camp trying to make the best of everything. And one little kid starts bragging about how he had chicken that night because that would be a rare delicacy in the straits that they're in. And the other kid goes, "Oh, quit your lying! You had fried bread just like the rest of us." And I thought, I just paid $12 for fried bread on a stick at the fair.
Yeah, fried bread is quite a
Isn't that?
Yeah, that sounds pretty
Put some
good.
sugar on that.
Delicatessen.
That's $20 at the Orange County Fair.
Yeah, they dip that
Fried bread,
They'll fry
absolutely,
anything.
I had to fry a Twinkie.
Yeah.
Things aren't going so well, Adam.
No.
I had to fry
a
Twinkies.
pickle.
So I watched Grapes of Wrath, and I found that to be good, but kind of depressing.
What night did you ruin with that?
I know, right? I feel like Wednesday
That
night.
was Fonda. That was Henry Fonda.
Yep.
Yeah, he was actually very good in that.
Yeah.
He reminded me a lot of Frank Sinatra. Were they of the same time? Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
See then, maybe.
Okay.
It probably reminds you a lot of Peter Fonda.
Maybe Peter.
Actually, no, those two are nothing
All right.
like really.
Then the other one I just saw last night was On the Waterfront.
Now you're talking.
That's a great movie, right, Karen? Great movie.
I'm
It
in movie
was
jail.
also free,
Karen.
and I liked it. Okay, I did like it. I thought the blonde chick was really good. I don't know anything about her.
Eva Marie Saint, you just saw her in North by Northwest.
Oh, there's a
Oops.
good movie.
Did you like
Not forget.
North by North?
Yeah, I like that well enough too.
Well enough.
I'm not a big fan of movies.
Well enough.
This kind of acting, I'm not a big fan of that kind of acting.
Good.
What, for North by Northwest?
Well, no, like I'm acting now. A lot of that was going on. Marlon Brando wasn't doing that so much, but he had this weird eyebrow thing going. His eyes were all like funky. Oh man,
He was a boxer.
He was all like fucked up looking. I
He
know.
got punched in the face hundreds of times.
But yeah, I almost cried when you guys have all seen it, right?
Yeah.
I almost cried when they're like, you go in, you have to walk in there by yourself. Oh my God! And how great was the guy with the nose?
Oh, turns out it's a good movie.
Carl Malden.
Carl Malden
Yeah.
was awesome.
The guy with the nose.
He was
You mean
very
Sybil
good.
Just what
Shepherd?
you were talking about.
No, Carl Malden, he was good. He was all badass. He's like, I'll have a beer. I like that in my priest. I like that. Yeah.
That movie.
I saw something else too. What else did I say?
I'll let you
We have
think
no
about
time
that.
for
I have no time for thinking.
No time for membrane.
Well, that movie, I remember watching in college, and the line from that movie that's really famous is, "I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender."
Oh, I was waiting for that line.
Or as
And
Tommy
what
Lee
did you
Jones would
notice
say
about
it.
that line? Did anything strike you about that line? Because when I first heard it,
It's a throwaway.
It's a complete
it's
throwaway
so not a
line.
big deal. There's other stuff around it.
he's in a cab and it's
Yeah,
it's
it's
in
not
the
a big
middle of
deal.
something else that's going on, and it's this real throwaway line. So
At no point do arrows come down and go, it's happening.
And so I was just amazed, and it was interesting to me to see that line take off and become part of our lexicon in such a iconic turn. But it was just him mumbling in the back of a cab.
I remembered the other movie I saw.
Yeah.
Again, another movie that was free, unlike free flicks. Chinatown. And I kept waiting. I swear to God. I kept waiting. I like, when are they going to say it? Because I was waiting for, you could have been a contender. I was waiting for, I'm going to take you downtown to Chinatown. Kept waiting for it. Never happened.
Well, Burt Ward, is that his name?
Because it's not in the
No.
movie. They don't say,
Nor is the song
gonna
I'm
take-
turning Japanese.
I'm
Kept
going to
waiting
take
for
you
it.
down to Chinatown.
I'm going to take you downtown. It's from Meet the Parents, right?
When are they going to eat the
It's
grapes of
actually
wrath?
Totally, it's the total eclipse of the heart. It's not called Turn Around Bright Eyes.
I kept thinking that Robert De Niro's character was quoting Chinatown. And so I was watching it, and I'm like, when are they going to say it? They didn't say it yet. When are they going to say it?
Isn't it Burt Ward? What's his name?
That's the guy that reminded me of Frank Sinatra.
You mean Burgess Meredith?
That's
No,
what I meant.
The guy
that
who says
actor.
this is no, but at the end it's
Forget it, Jake. It's China.
Paulie from Rocky. Isn't his name Burt Ward?
No.
Burt Young.
Burt
Burt Ward
Young.
is Robin in the Batman
Thank
television series.
Burt Young. Burt Young, who I want to.
What's going on with the movie guys today?
I just want to celebrate.
I'm just spending a lot of time trying to figure out what movie Burt Ward was in. I'm like, I don't
gonna
think
take
Burt
you
Ward was in
downtown.
any classic movie.
Downtown to
at all.
Chinatown.
It wasn't Chinatown.
Oh my God, Chinatown's depressing as all shit.
But
Holy
Burt Young
cow.
is
So where does the phrase "I wish they'd stop these Star Wars" come from? I kept waiting for that.
But at least
It was
they,
cut out. Big said it. It was cut out.
they do at least say Chinatown in Chinatown
Oh, it's the last
at
line.
the
of
at the
very
end.
last line.
But
Yeah, but they didn't say I'm going to take you down
Burt
to
Young,
Chinatown.
I
I
think
was
needs to be
disappointed.
celebrated as an actor because look at him do Paulie and then Chinatown and then I know this is a stretch, but Back to School.
Back to School. Yeah. And he
That's
showed up on The Sopranos.
It's a great range. That's a great range on that
I love
guy.
him in Back to School.
Yeah.
I love Robert Downey Jr. in Back to School.
I love Robert Downey Jr. anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
Is he
So
in
that's-
Chinatown?
He can be
Karen,
in
is
Chinatown.
Robert Downey Jr. in Chinatown?
I kept looking. I kept looking for him in Grapes of Wrath. I was looking for him, and that one about the guy getting punched.
I
Yeah.
meant Burt Young. Is Burt Young in it?
In Chinatown, he's in the final scene.
You're saying that. I don't remember it.
Yeah, he's in
But
the.
I'll take
he's
your
in
word
the
for it.
Did he
house
play
in
a
Chinatown.
Chinaman?
Or I'll take your word for it. We're going to have one hell of a retractions next week on our show.
So what do I got? What do we got on the board? Chris Hardwick was Stacey Jacks. Burt Young was in
Burt-
Chinatown.
Yeah.
I believe both
Burt
those are
Lancaster,
true.
Burt
Check all
Reynolds.
this out.
So my question though is when we discover I'm wrong, that will obviously be brought to light. when it's discovered I'm right, we'll
We'll ignore
celebrate
that.
Okay.
No, no.
Okay, yes, we'll bring that up.
We will- Why bother? That's no
Register
fun.
that domain name.
We got time to talk about one more round of what you've been watching, or whatever the hell we're going to call this segment.
Bore the audience, I think. Is
What's
what I go.
What's that you done watched?
Oh, your eye, what you done
I have down here
watched.
Dirty Harry's and Death Wishes.
What you done watched.
It's not going to be a ballad.
Unlock.
Whenever we come up with a theme song for this segment,
That's
it's not going
Tyler
to be a ballad.
Perry's What You Done Watched.
Oh,
I
based on the novel Pushed by
I
Sapphire.
based on how
Well, he'll say it. He'll say anything.
I received the Dirty Harry box set for Christmas. I had yet to get around to watching all of the Dirty Harry movies. In my life, I've only seen Dirty Harry and Magnum Force 1 and 2.
Going in? No shit?
Yeah, I've never seen and still haven't. I'm only up to 2. This week I watched 2. So I have never seen
The Enforcer.
The Enforcer, and I've never seen
Sudden Impact.
Sudden Impact.
You never saw Make My Day, Sudden Impact.
I know that I've seen that scene.
Right.
Go
But
ahead.
you never
make
saw
my
the
day.
whole big deal.
Yeah. No, and they're interesting movies. I really like that. And for contrast, it just happened to be on one of the channels that they were showing Death Wish 3, 4, and 5. So I thought that would be good. So I watched Dirty Harry and then Death Wish 3. Because it really is the rich man's and poor man's right there. It's like Death Wish only kind of succeeded because there's that weird sort of nihilistic vigilantism streak in the early 80s, you know? So there's Dirty Harry, and then at the super low end of things, there's Death Wish. And so there's Death Wish 3, and then I watched...
Are they both cop movies?
Yeah, okay. So Dirty Harry is Clint Eastwood.
Oh, okay.
And... which is a terrible nickname now, right? What was your point on that, Lee?
Well, we were talking about this the other day. It's like Dirty Harry nowadays sounds like an excuse to take the long way home from school because you saw Dirty Harry down at the park. When Mom, I had to ran into Dirty Harry.
That's what I called you because I couldn't walk through.
Why'd you take so long to get home?
Dirty Harry was at the mall.
I
walk
walk around.
around.
A second. I had to
Change
It
my
just
course.
sounds like a really perverted sexual
Yeah,
thing,
it doesn't
too.
sound like a
I'm gonna
badass
give you a
cop
Dirty
thing
Harry.
anymore. And they don't even justify it very well. It's been a long time since I saw Dirty Harry, but they're like finally like he's like, and it's like a thing they string along, but real poorly. Like where it's like, why do they call him Dirty Harry? He'll tell you someday, and you're like, oh, okay. And, it's like, and then like later, Dirty Harry's like, bet you wonder why they call me Dirty Harry. And he's like,
Is it
yeah, why? He's like, well, you'll find out later. And then finally they halfway through the movie or 3/4 of the way through the movie, he's like, that's why they call me Dirty Harry because I do the jobs that nobody else wants to do.
Oh,
And you're
well,
like,
that's nice.
well, that was a lot of build up for a guy with a nickname. Can you imagine having a friend with a nickname that just builds it up all the time? Well, I'll tell you someday. Like, shut up.
Well, the Haywire guy, what does he do?
Haywire? Oh, Death Wish?
Oh,
Yeah.
Haywire? No, okay, stop.
Haywire?
You said Haywire.
years?
How did you know to get to Death Wish from Haywire?
he said it earlier.
Because you know what? I think I speak Karen at this point. I mean, we've done this for a while, right?
Grapes of Wrath. Did you mean Chinatown? Yeah.
Yes.
Here's a question. Could you remake Death Wish today? Is Bronson
Oh, it's
too
not.
iconic or not iconic enough where you could replace him into a Death Wish?
You could totally replace him because I have no
Oh,
idea what you
yeah,
just talked
yeah.
about.
I don't think
He was
anybody
never that
under
famous.
yeah, exactly. I don't think anybody under 30 really knows.
He's kind of a cult item, even
No
at
one
the time.
under 40. I don't know what you're talking about.
Charles Bronson.
Nope.
Yeah.
Tell
He's
the
no
story
Clint
about how he got
Eastwood.
his name.
We had Charles' Polish name
Dumoir.
until he went to
Sipowicz.
Paramount Pictures, which is on the corner of Melrose and Bronson. And they saw a Bronson Street sign and gave him the last name Bronson.
Ta-da! The
Sure.
magic of
Paramount
Hollywood.
Pictures is like the Ellis Island for actors.
Paramount just didn't want
Lipschitz,
anybody
Sipowicz.
to be ethnic.
Here is the great contrast. So the first Dirty Harry is this like completely gritty 70s movie and like a cop who's just had it with the system. And there's a great parody of it that's like, the system just takes so long. I just want to go out and shoot somebody. So he just goes out and shoots people or whatever. Now, the first Death Wish is like this guy gets like his wife gets raped and his kids get killed or whatever. It's just horrific 70s. Like, you know, they didn't know how to take their foot off the gas pedal with the violence and shit in the 70s. Just super disturbing, rape.
Straw dogs the shit out of his
Super
family.
straw dogs. Jeff Goldblum, I think. Doesn't Jeff Goldblum rape his... He's in the first Death Wish.
It seems like.
Is he really?
Yeah, and I think Lawrence Fishburne's in the
No,
second
I think you're thinking of Burt Young.
I wanted to rape your wife, but I no, he really is in it.
Goldblum?
Yeah, Goldblum.
And then here I am talking to myself.
Old ladies pinching babies.
So here's the contrast. So I watched Death Wish 3 and the first two Dirty Harrys. So the first two Dirty Harrys have this kind of sheen about them. They are Clint Eastwood movies. They are one of the most popular movies of their years. And then there's Death Wish, which was only kind of popular and then just kind of makes all of its movies on like foreign pre-sales as it goes along, you know. So there's this sort of question of like, should a cop be as violent as Dirty Harry? And there's sort of this moral thing that goes on, although that slips away too. But in Death Wish 3, it is like all the punks from the Warriors are like running around in the street. So like grandma and grandpa that like leave the apartment immediately get beat up and raped and clobbered. And so
I'm
then
sorry, that's not funny.
No, it's
Grandma
not.
getting raped.
But it's so
Laughing
over the
my
top.
ass off
And
at
they
it.
all have their like punk. They have like a reverse mohawk. They have like the middle of their head
Right.
shaved.
A Mohican.
Yeah, and they have like they have like symbols and stuff. They're like a super villain gang. It's just so sci-fi that they're just running the streets and beating up grandma and grandpa. And then so they take in They take in Charles Bronson into the police. This is how they get the plot out. They take him into jail because he supposedly killed somebody. And then this guy comes in and he goes, man, the crime's getting worse and worse out there without him on the streets. like they really actually come in and report. They're like, man, the crime's getting out of hand now that Charles Bronson is in this prison. It's like, and one guy actually has a conversation and goes, we better let him out. And they let him out. He goes out. He kills a bunch of these like super like the Warriors weird criminal gangs. And then the cops actually go, the crime's going down. They're actually reporting like his murders as the crime rate. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
And so concludes all you've ever needed to know about Deadwood.
And so concluded, that is Vigilante Week at the Adam Witt household.
All right, so what do we have? Yes, thumbs up to, let's recap the shows we reviewed on this week's Movie Guys Test Show.
What do we say thumbs up
Thumbs
to?
up to Jack Reacher. Mm-hmm. Thumbs in the middle for On the Waterfront.
I'd like to
Chinatown
argue
and
that perhaps Karen
Birds of
likes
Breath.
that more than she realizes.
I did. Well, On the Waterfront was my favorite.
Yeah.
I did. I enjoyed the adultery and rape of Chinatown. I thought that was interesting.
Which one is the Depeche Mode song? Is that On the Waterfront? Is that the one?
No, that's Bob Dylan's All Along the Watchtower.
Oh,
No, that's
Oh.
Jimi Hendrix. Who is that?
Dylan first.
I like the lady in Grapes of Wrath because she looked like she could be related to me.
The Grapes of Wrath.
Those are all very
The mom
valid
character.
reasons to like movies.
What if Kenny Loggins did a theme song for every movie? Chinatown. Good.
You're the Wrath of Khan.
Those movies are only about 5 years away from a Loggins, Caddyshack was what, probably 5 years after Chinatown?
You know, I think I had done a birthday about him, and I called him he had a nickname for being like the man who did all the theme
Soundtrack
songs.
guy? Yeah.
Yeah, the king of the soundtracks in the 80s. He was king of the soundtracks.
Kenny
of course,
Loggins?
who, that's like, being king of pop.
Because that's the only decade where you could have such a title.
As king of soundtrack.
Yeah.
King of the movie soundtrack. That's what his title was.
70s, they weren't focusing on that. 90s, I don't know. No one dominated like that.
You know what Steve would say about Kenny Loggins, that Messina, who is it? It was Loggins and Messina,
It
right?
was.
So Messina is Kenny Loggins' Peter Scolari.
Right. And on that note, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
with that confused look by
one
Karen.
last thing.
Yes,
he
Karen,
was
one
talking
last
about the
thing.
grittiness of the movies in the 70s, and I immediately thought about that compared to the kind of violence we have now. And it really has a lot to do with the same with like how women keep their bush. Like back in the 70s, it was all crazy and all over the
You could
place.
not have picked a better analogy.
Right, and now it's all clean and specific. We know that it's a crotch, but it's a very clean crotch.
This is good.
Thank you.
It is the Harry Bush of action movies.
That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Thank you.
Final
There you go. That's test show number 2, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back next week, beginning our new run of shows.
With a real show, with a script and everything.
Yeah, and a guest. I think we're going to really get into some Star Trek talk next week, because if we didn't enough this week for Lee, next week, even more Star Trek talk.
Well, we'll have seen this.
As we all get out and see
Next week I'll be
into
on
darkness.
board. I'll be up to speed, and
You're
I'll
coming
be
over and watching Star Trek cartoons
I'll be a
tomorrow,
fan.
right? All right.
Absolutely, a complete convert by next week.
Oh, I hope so. I hope. This is the movie Showcast. Thanks for listening.
How did she do that?
You have to do this, it's easier.
I'm with you, Paul. I'm taking the headphones off. They're convinced we're making porn now.